To bring in now a candidate for U.S. Senate for Arizona, Kari Lake. Welcoming, Kari. Always a pleasure to have you.
Oh, great to be here. I wish we had better news. It's just my heart breaks for that mother and her children who are now left orphaned. It's just, and it doesn't have to be this way. No. We don't need to have this kind of crime in our country. So I've been keeping them in my prayers.
Oh, as have I. And, you know, it's her, it's Laken Riley, who we know Biden didn't even want to utter that name at the State of the Union. Now, all of a sudden, tomorrow, they're going to announce DACA, Dreamers, more amnesty. We have the Democratic governor of Maryland addressing the death of this beautiful mother of five, and exactly the fact that we're just talking about. It is under Joe Biden's watch and his policies here. Let's take a listen.
We have an immigration policy that needed to have been dealt with and was not. And the consequences then fall on us.
They're falling on you in Arizona. We know that, Kari. It is a disaster at the border.
Yeah, for them to try to even equate this with, you know, what real legal immigration is, you know, we need to have a legal immigration system that helps America. This is criminals, hardened criminals, rapists, murderers, and terrorists that have been ushered in. Joe Biden has rolled out the welcome mat, and he's gotten support from people like the guy I'm running against, Ruben Gallego, running for U.S. Senate, who's an open borders nut job, frankly, who wants to have people like the murderer and the rapist you just talked about roll in through this country, and worse yet, wants to give them citizenship, free housing, job permits, and a right to vote in our country. And the American people aren't for that, not here in Arizona. You know, even our huge Hispanic population in Arizona, in a recent poll, they want the people who poured in under the Biden invasion to be deported. 44% of our Hispanic population says, no, we don't want this. We don't want people coming in, competing with us for jobs, driving our wages down, competing with us for housing. Americans are tired of it.
They really are. And this Democratic Party, as they continue to have these glitzy parties here, just really illustrates how tone deaf I think they are. And to have Obama on the stage again, like we saw a few months back. And, you know, Jimmy Kimmel's out there, Kari, saying this country needs an exorcism from people like this. What do you make of this weird video where Obama puts his hand on him and they're walking off the stage? Obama's senior advisor, Eric Schultz, posted on X that this did not happen. Just like we saw at the G7, they're trying to say what we're seeing with Joe Biden looking a little bit, you know, weak and feeble. Don't believe this with your own eyes. And, you know, Americans are seeing this, and we'll see it on a debate stage in just 10 days from now.
Yeah, they're trying to say what you saw didn't happen. We've known Obama is the puppet master, and we've finally seen the puppet master, Obama, pulling the strings on his puppet, Joe Biden. And it was it was actually scary. When you think about it, Biden being this figurehead, really all he is a figurehead. He's not calling the shots. I don't think he can even tell what kind of ice cream he's eating these days. And so, you know, that man on the stage, frankly, none of them are fit to be president right now. But Joe Biden especially is not. And it almost feels like elder abuse. It feels like when, you know, we've all had that elderly relative at some point who we notice is starting to, you know, their mind is starting to go, or their mind has completely gone. Yeah. And we're thinking, how do we get them help? But what does Jill Biden do? She rolls them out. She puts them on stage. She puts them on the national stage. And it's painful to watch, and painful knowing that guy is in charge of our nuclear codes. He's in charge of our country. It's really scary. We have a chance to change that November 5th when we vote for President Trump, who's strong and ready to lead and ready to turn things around for us.
Yes. And, you know, he has the nuclear codes, and the world right now is not in a safe situation. We talked about the immigration, the ISIS terrorists, you know, coming in through our border. But what did they talk about? They want to talk about Donald Trump being the threat to democracy. This is part of what he said in that fundraiser with all the elites here, talking about Donald Trump, who could appoint 2 Supreme Court justices if he's reelected. Let's play a little bit of this.
Elect me. Again, I'll tell you why. No, I'm not just saying. The next president is likely to have 2 new Supreme Court nominees. 2 more. He's already appointed 2 that have been very negative in terms of the rights of individuals. The idea that if he's reelected, he's going to appoint 2 more flying flags upside down is really, I really mean it.
Flags upside down. Well, I hope whoever gets appointed can define a woman. This is absurd that they are trying to use this, the fear mongering. Is this the latest playbook here? Now this is this because he can't run on his record, Kari.
Well, that's the reason to actually, another reason to vote for President Trump, because he will very likely be naming new Supreme Court picks and judicial picks and all of that. And they have to go through confirmation in the U.S. Senate. So we have to make sure we get the majority in the U.S. Senate. Joe Biden has literally destroyed everything he's touched. The economy is the #1 issue right now, especially with young voters 18 to 39. They say that they cannot afford living. They don't see how their life is going to get better. They only see a future that is bleak with this economy, Bidenomics economy. It doesn't work. And so, I don't think that's going to work with voters who are struggling to make ends meet, who are watching as they're being displaced. Their jobs are going away. They're being replaced by foreign workers. And they're watching as their quality of life goes down the tubes. I don't think their young voters are really worried about what Joe Biden is talking about.
No, and I think that their ad buy, where they're going to try to push this convicted felon, if it hasn't worked so far, as we've seen massive fundraising to Donald Trump, won't yet. What's your reaction, real quick? A bit of breaking news this morning about Hunter. We knew this. He is now seeking a new federal gun trial after conviction, of course, because apparently rules don't apply if your last name's Biden.
Well, it'd be nice if he got a trial for some of the other things found on his laptop. I saw some very illegal activity happening on that laptop. And so maybe, he's just desperate, searching for a different court. But I think that we didn't even try him for all that he should have been tried for. Hunter Biden is a common criminal when you see what happened on that laptop and you see some of the debauchery and, frankly, really inappropriate and most likely illegal behavior involving possibly underage kids,
That's right.
children, women. It's frightening.
It is. And David Weiss, the special counsel, could absolutely bring charges if he is so inclined now that they admit that laptop is real. Always a pleasure to have you in. Kari Lake running for Senate in Arizona. Thanks for your time today. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bianca.